You have coin, stranger? With Orzammar closed off, Old Tegrin can give you a discount. Fine weapon and arms, dwarven made. There's two things I'm here for. Travel or trade. Understand?
Good-looking Mabari you have there. The Mabari is the king of dogs. Respect him and he will be your closest companion, and your most loyal defender. I was chosen by a Mabari myself years ago. I was one of the Ash Warriors, under the command of the old King Merrick. We laid down our lives for the king and for freedom, and my beloved Valder paid the ultimate price. Nothing was the same after that. They say a Mabari bonds with his human, but they often leave out that the bond goes both ways. No other Mabari could have taken his place. What is an Ash Warrior without his hound? There was nothing for me there anymore, and so I left. Look at me. I'm an old man. There is no place for me on the battlefield. I know about the Blight, and were I but 10 years younger, I would fight. But my time has passed. Wait a moment. Perhaps there is something I can do to help. You must know about Kadas, the paint we use to create patterns on the fur of the Mabari. I know some old patterns from a generation ago. I can teach them to you in exchange for some coin.
Oh, you wish to talk to me? Truly, it's a courtesy for one so well-armed to notice a lowly merchant. Someone has to. Trade with other races can dry up. We surfacers are Orzammar's lifeline. Even if we're denied a caste, the Assembly says we've turned our back on the stone, but they still use the goods we bring. Hypocrites.
That's not right. Someone should do something.
Maybe it'll change by the time my children are grown. Twice a year, I'm confined to a trade stall in the Commons, but I see enough. It's very closed in. My grandfather says I've lost my stone sense. I was born topside. I don't remember having it. Best of luck to you.
Vieta! This land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
None more important than mine.
Your business will wait. Orzammar must limit outside influence until the throne is settled. No one gets in.
They hide because they are dwarves.
I would challenge any race to fare as well. Our king is dead. Endrin Aeducan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
Wait, who are you to speak for Ferelden? You're no messenger to Loghain, that's for certain.
Thank the ancestors.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the royal seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Show respect, Surfacer. You're in the Hall of Heroes, home to the best of us. Paragons, dwarves who achieve such greatness, they're considered ancestors even if they yet walk among us. If only we had one now. A unifier. A voice like that, there would be no dissension. Surfacers always assume nothing happens underground without them. Many are trying, despite our stalemate. Goodbye, Warden. I hope you're not needed.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you? Vast holes carved from the stone of the mountain, lined with the chiseled marble figures of paragons, so fine as to mirror life itself. Soaring ceilings grand enough to make any man forget the sky and the sun, and to question the reason for their existence. I have heard of these things and more, but none prepared me for what I have seen here. It is marvelous, harsh, yet beautiful. But that is part of its beauty. It is so different. I love it. And have you seen those tiny pig-like burrowing animals? They are adorable. I wish I could have one as a pet. But they must be hard to catch and... Oh, just ignore me. I'm so silly sometimes. Let's just go.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Bhelen incite a riot.
You'll not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order. Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Bhelen, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Bhelen speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Forender from his estate. See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Bhelen and Harrowmont in there, sort this all out in a hurry. Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. Yes, you should.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what this city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive. The city is torn apart. King Endrin is dead, and the Assembly can't decide who takes the throne, Lord Harrowmont or that monster Bhelen. Everybody knows he killed his brother Trian and let his father's favorite son take the blame, and many question whether Endrin died abed, as we were told, or whether Bhelen helped him along. He is a good man and a skilled general. King Endrin trusted him with his life, and I will do no less. Only as a potential match for one of his sons. He was a good king, stern and fair and just. He died in bed after his eldest son was murdered, and the Assembly condemned his second son for it. I cannot blame him for preferring to join the ancestors in eternal peace, if Bhelen didn't murder him himself. I am Nerav Helmi, third daughter of the second matron of House Helmi. And you, stranger? What brings you to Orzammar at such a time? A Grey Warden? That explains why they allowed you past the gates. What kind of aid do you mean? A Blight? Now? But our warriors are killing each other in the streets! I'm sorry, stranger. I fear there will be no aid for you in Orzammar. If you seek Lord Harrowmont's support, I suggest you talk with his trusted advisor, Dulin Forender. He might be able to get you an audience.
Welcome to Janar Family Armorers. I must say, you look like our type of people.
Looking for a new set of mail. At Janar's, we have everything from leather to platinum. I stay out of politics. It's not good for a smith to get the attention of those who grant vendors licenses. Lord Harrowmont's a fair man. My father did business with him, and he always paid on time. But the Aeducans have served us well. If it is the ancestors' wisdom to keep them on the throne, I cannot object. Aye, for 100 generations. My father made his name by inventing a fall and tacit, which were integrated into the cuirass. But, I'm guessing by your face you're not a smith yourself. Of course, keep in mind we also take items on trade.
Topsiders? Good. Get some outside gold in here. Calm people down. Make them think we should open the gates for good. The more cracks in the old way, the better. That's what Bhelen stands for. Can't find ore without splitting some stone. My investments are solid, I'll be fine. The Assembly has done us a favor. They've shown just how loose the sand is under our feet. It opens people to change. Orzammar will decide what we can or can't be. Blight may be imminent on the surface, but our warriors are well seasoned against dark spawn. There will be topsiders left for trade. There's no end to you. Not your business, but I see where the gold is. He's the traditional pick, yet he wants a new way, whether some like it or not. Just as many say Harrowmont. Neither are paragons, and the scales being equal, I go with the promise of more trade. I'll take your gold. You're good for that.
Atrust Vala, stranger. You must be the Grey Warden we heard about. Welcome to Tapster's. I'm Corra, your hostess. How may I serve you? So you come to Tapster's? I guess you're not asking for anything official, or you'd be at the Shaperate. But I can certainly give you a mole's eye view. It's the bureau of all the Shapers in Orzammar, led by the Shaper of Memories. If you're from the surface, I guess you'd call them scholars. They keep all of our records, laws, genealogies. You got questions about Orzammar's history, and don't mind answers in words as long as your leg, that's the place to go. He'd be in the Diamond Quarter. Pardon, the Nobles District. Upstairs from here, however you call it. The nobles stay upstairs, except when they're slumming. You'll find the Assembly there, the Palace, the Shaperate, and plenty of estates. Down from here is just Dust Town or the mines, so my recommendation is avoid. It's not part of the city, just some old tunnels where the castlists build their nests. No one goes there if they can help it. But if you want fun, your best bet is the Proving. It's a chance for all the best fighters in Orzammar to test their skills. There's a tournament today. Arenas between here and the Diamond Quarter. With 52 types of ale, 17 types of mead, and a dozen imported wines, we should be able to serve your needs. What do you have? I recommend a Brachian brew. She has a heavy head and a deep, rich taste. 3 silvers gives you a pint. A Brachian brew never fails to hit the spot. A few months ago, you might have seen the prince here. But now he never leaves his estate. Well, I have other customers to see too. If you need anything else, just call me over.
Afternoon, stranger. You looking for a stool to share a brew? Name's Nevin. I fight with Prince Bhelen's expeditionary field unit. Yourself? Figured as much. Good folks, Wardens. I was in the deep roads when that one came by. What was his name? Dunka... something like that. I met him, sure. Good man. Solid. He knows what we go through in the deep roads. Not many do. Not even the ones who live this close. You have to be on the front lines. I go where I'm sent, fight when I'm there, and leave politics where it belongs. Darkspawn. Not much use in turning our weapons elsewhere while those vermin still live. Every Grey Warden ends up there. Getting more crowded these days, though. Lots of people interested all of a sudden. We go back tomorrow, and we're not the only ones. Lord Harrowmont's got his own men there, all looking for signs of Bronca. Guess the city's getting to miss having a paragon. Everyone wants someone to put in charge. Bhelen ordered us in at first bell. He's splitting us into 4 teams to search for some of the lost Tigers. Looking for signs of Bronca, I guess. Seems to be who everyone's after. Bronca was a paragon, some kind of great smith or whatnot. But she went batty and let her whole house into the deep roads more than 2 years ago. No chance she could have survived. And a lot of good men are gonna die looking for her corpse. Excuse me. This brew is starting to taste awful bitter.
Lord Denek Helmi, honored Desher of the Orzammar Assembly, and terrible disappointment to my esteemed mother, who doesn't like me spending time in taverns. You understand what I'm saying, right? On the surface, there are no castes, and it works fine. Am I right, Warden? You don't get far as the youngest and most outspoken member of the Assembly without keeping an ear to the stone. I heard there was a Grey Warden in town. No offense, but you kind of stand out. But there are those like you who see this with concern, no? Well, I've taken the time to actually talk to the other castes. You know, most smiths and tavern keeps would make decent deshers if we gave them a chance and a seat in the Assembly. Orzammar is so mired in tradition, no one bothers asking if the castes are even necessary. Badly. Oh, you're serious? Well, it's simple, I guess. The king and elected deshers of the Assembly are at the top. Then it's the nobles. Then the warriors and all the craftsmen. At the bottom are servants. The casteless and criminals are below even that. Your caste is determined by that of your same-sex parent. And that's where you stay your whole life, whatever your skill. Me and 79 other fine, upstanding examples of how someone who's born into every privilege inevitably wants more. They're not fond of my views on equality. I doubt either candidate has been outside the Diamond Quarter in his life. But Lord Harrowmont seems a bit more forgiving. Prince Bhelen's brilliant, I'll give him that, and subtle as sin. But I don't think anything in Orzammar matters more to him than winning. As you wish.
What? Get away! You'll change like the rest! Monsters hidden in all my friends! They follow you. Once you are in the story, they possess your friends and follow. See? I found copies. All from the same pen, and older than the ones in song. Dormant my arse! Take them! I want out!
Maker's blessing on you, brother. Oh, you look as if you come from the surface. I thought perhaps you were raised in the way of the Chantry. I'm Brother Burkle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar.
If this chantry could help just one person as much as it helped me, it's worth any trouble.
There is resistance. It's obvious the world wasn't created by the mortal souls who dwelt within it. Yet the dwarves of Orzammar persist in worshipping their own forefathers. You speak as if these people have deliberately chosen to reject the Maker, but most of them haven't even heard his name. How can they choose the path of enlightenment if they never learn that the path exists? The Shaperate controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memory's permission to open a prayer meeting. Never mind. The Shaper of Memories has refused me so far. I thought perhaps with another advocate, well, it's clear you strayed too far to be brought back with a single conversation.
Greetings, and welcome to Garin Garrison's Luxury Goods Shop. Wow, there are a lot of you. And I've never seen one of those before. The things they come up with. What was I saying? Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people don't anymore. Or maybe they're too polite to mention it. I had a little incident a few years back. Too much time with the raw lyrium ore, you know. Maybe it was a bad vein. I cut myself and the dust got straight in the blood. Since then, it's been a little hard for me to concentrate. Except when forging, then I'm straight as an arrow. Best work I've ever seen. Look around the shop. See for yourself. Well, it's the lyrium, you know. Raw blood of the earth. It's more alive than you and me. Most of the time, that's no problem. When it's all bundled up in a piece of steel, it'll leave you alone. But handling the ore directly, sometimes you get burned. It's not just your skin it takes off. It'll burn directly into your mind. Of course we are. Weak surfacers like you touch the raw ore, and you'll bleed from your eyeballs in hours. Weird seeing how big you are. Even surface dwarves lose it. Us down here, though, we should be able to handle it just fine. Only not too much, and not every day, and not breathing the dust, and not direct in the blood. Ancestors' own bad luck. Not crazy, just a little forgetful. Don't worry, I'm fine when I work. Just look at my wares. I have the best blades here. Enchanted to hold fire, ice, anything you want to put in it. Right. Best in the trade, you know. I work the ore myself.
I knew I should have stuck to common nugs. Now I've gone and lost them too. I'll never find them the way they skitter. No way I'm going back to that supplier in Dust Town. Guess I'm shutting it down. I gotta boil them before roasting, but otherwise no, safe as sand. Some people swear they make good pets. May as well leash a turnip, I say. Good on you, stranger. Only need one to turn this around. Go on, I'm out of the nug game, got nothing to sell. Saraka, I'm back in the game, such as it is. I don't have much besides gratitude, but find a bunch more of these and I'll toss you whatever I've found.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the Assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandelor, Bhelen's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the Assembly of the Clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in. Forgive me. I am so exhausted. I completely forgot about the message from the Gate Guard. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. Troubling, but it will still seem distant compared to the empty throne. The Assembly is blind to all else. This is their world, and it ended when Endrin died. I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Bhelen or Lord Harrowmont, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. Dulin Forender, Harrowmont's man, can be found at the Harrowmont estate. Vartag Gavorn, Prince Bhelen's second, is often here in the Assembly. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Gavorn, top advisor to our good Prince Bhelen. What news do you bring? It would be hard not to notice the Grey Warden and his eclectic entourage. I hear you seek the aid of Orzammar's finest. Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. No one wishes this fight over more than Bhelen. But while it rages, Orzammar can spare no one to combat what may or may not be a new blight. I believe you, but what are we to do? If Bhelen followed his heart, and sent his men to aid you, Harrowmont would steal his throne. We would defeat the Blight, and return to find our homeland devastated by an incompetent tyrant. Perhaps you could prove to Prince Bhelen your intentions are just. If you show you owe Harrowmont no fealty, I'm sure Bhelen would help you. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception.
Irrefutable evidence? Which I suppose you have?
I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmi. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes. That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty. Normally, the Shapers would handle this sort of accusation. They are the scholars who manage our laws, histories, and genealogies. They are the final arbiters of all disputes in Orzammar. Unfortunately, the Shaper of Memories is the most important among them, and his grandfather was Lord Harrowmont's aunt's first cousin. Obviously, we cannot expect him to offer an unbiased opinion. I guess I can't expect you surfacers to understand the importance of family in Orzammar. The Shaper is biased, and if you want Prince Bhelen's help, you'll have to show where your loyalties lie. Will you do it? Very well, but do not expect my prince to see you as anything more than another ignorant surfacer. I will be here if you change your mind.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowmont cannot ignore Bhelen today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties. If you wish to show you have no loyalty to Bhelen, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Bhelen is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Bhelen found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. The proving is a contest of the best warriors in Orzammar. By fighting, they show who has the ancestors' favor. If you were to enter the proving as Lord Harrowmont's champion, it would prove your loyalty beyond a doubt. Bhelen would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Then I'm afraid your only choice is to wait until there's a winner. Lord Harrowmont cannot risk his life working with someone of unproven loyalties. If you change your mind, let me know. The proving is this afternoon, and Lord Harrowmont could certainly use you on his side.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories. The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you. Ask, and I shall do my best to answer. We were a great empire once, outnumbering even humans and elves. We traded with your Tevinter Imperium, and our land stretched as far in the deep roads as theirs did above. Kal Sharok was capital then, but we lost too many battles. We lost our golems, and we lost our territory. Now the Empire is simply ruined tunnels filled with darkspawn. They were once our highways beneath the mountains. Now the darkspawn claim them and few venture there, except your order, who enter the deep roads when they retire, so they can die slaughtering as many darkspawn as possible. The Paragon Caridon, a smith of unsurpassed genius, invented the golems. For years they were our weapon against the darkspawn, One golem is worth a dozen dwarves in battle, but Caridin's Tig is far into the deep roads. When it fell, we lost his secret to creating golems. There are books about it along these walls if you would read more. Yes, we have only a few dozen left in Orzammar, and I do not recognize this one. Where did you find it? Every golem is precious to us. We'd pay a good sum for a new find.
I'd sooner jump into a pit of lava.
Unfortunate. Was there anything else? I must tell the rest of the Shaperate about this discovery. At the other side of the old empire, during the last Blight, the kings of Orzammar knew they couldn't hold everything. They sealed the deep roads, abandoning everyone still trapped in far-flung settlements. It was the only way to survive. Kal Sharok is the only other city to outlast the Blight. We only rediscovered them recently, and they still haven't forgiven us. I will settle your mind if I can, Warden. All dwarves who die return to the stone as ancestors, to guide their families forever. But only one every few generations rises to Paragon. A Paragon is a dwarf whose accomplishments change Orzammar so much that the Assembly recognizes they've been born blessed. They are venerated as living ancestors and found a new noble house forever bearing their name. There is one Paragon of this generation, a woman named Branka. She was born a smith, but her inventions caught the Assembly's eye. Before she had seen 20 years, she created a smokeless coal. It could burn in a cave without vents and no one would choke from it. It earned her Paragon status. She went into the deep roads 2 years ago seeking out secrets of the ancient smiths. She never returned. Your presence here has been recorded in the memories. I wish I knew what significance it has.
Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shaperate. What have we been reduced to? I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dust Town. They couldn't know the value.
Do you see how things lie, Warden? Lord Harrowmont cannot trust you unproven, but he welcomes a good faith gesture. Bhelen is hosting a proving tournament to honor his father's memory, but he somehow scared off most of Lord Harrowmont's fighters. If you can enter as Harrowmont's champion, you would prove your dedication well. The provings are how our ancestors show their judgment, pitting body against body in a ring of scared stone. Everyone in Orzammar accepts that judgment. The usual. A couple of Aeducans, some Gavorns. He has many men lined up, but not all of them are top-ranking. Piotin Aeducan and Wojciech Ivo are his best. They're both unpredictable, and some of the best fighters Orzammar has seen. I served under General Harrowmont for 3 years. Under his command, every dwarven life is important. He would not waste even a single soldier. He is the king Orzammar needs, especially in a Blight. Bhelen would call any fight a victory so long as he remains standing. Have you decided then? Will you enter the provings in Harrowmont's name? Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Glaedor and Bizel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.